I don't let anybody play about, like, y'all my kids. Well, I don't play about my kids.
Hello, welcome back to Behind the Eyes of Our Youth from Martin Luther King High School in Philadelphia, where we talk about anything and everything. My name is Luther McNeil. We talked about a lot of good stuff with the principal today. So y'all should tune into this episode.
Keisha Wilkins, proud principal, Martin Luther King High School. This is my 11th year serving the students and community of Northwest. I was born and raised in Germantown. I am the daughter of Richard and Sharon, wife of Herbert, mother of Kedara, Kaya, and Dakena, and I'm an Aquarius.
Okay. Now I just wanted to know, like, how is it like being a principal every day?
It's different every day. You are a servant of the community. It means that, your job, although there is a description that the School District of Philadelphia put up and expects me to abide by, there are so many other things in terms of building relationships, being available to parents and families and community and students that no one day is the same as the next. So it's an unexpected job. It's often a thankless job, but we don't do it because we want accolades for doing the work that we love to do. But it is a job that requires 100% of your time. And yeah, I mean, that's basically it. It could be anywhere from making sure that the instructional practices across the building are done with fidelity, meaning that your teachers are teaching. So having conversations with students about what's going on in classrooms. It could be about community concerns. Something happened in the larger community and some of our partners are coming in and trying to figure out how they can support the school. Or it may just be simply, we got some grant money and I want to figure out what's the best way to use the money across the school to make sure that all of our students are served and serviced from that money.
All right, the question I got for you, Ms. Wilkins, how you deal with like the parents, like like when they come in the office and like a parent, like she all hype, da 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 da, like how
You've
you
seen
deal
it
with that?
before.
Yeah, how you deal with that?
I think that it's again about relationships and about understanding that, I don't feel like people come to the school and we'll say turn up for no reason. Like there is a reason why a person is behaving the way that they are. So the first thing that I'm going to do is try to get to the bottom of what's going on, figure out what service or disservice they feel like they've been served and in how we can support them. I look at the school as like a triage. You know how when you go to the hospital, they see you in this little space before you go back to see the doctor and they want to know what's wrong with you, how they can help you, and kind of how to direct your service. So I see the school as a triage. And so I always try to come with the mindset that first and foremost, when I introduce myself as a child of. So I think about growing up in this community and what my parents dealt with, and then also being a mom and how I would want people to handle my children or what the expectations are of me as a parent, as an adult, for people to handle my children or to handle me. Because, just because you're older doesn't mean that you always have the capacity to do things in decency and order. So I have to do it in decency and order to make sure that this place is safe, that it's an environment where we are triaging and helping people get the services that they need.
Okay, Principal Wilkins, I got a question. So as a principal, like, how do you balance your schedule? Like, cause you're a mom too, and you got a school you gotta take care of too. So how would you balance that?
That's a good question, Luther. I quit every day. And, one of the teachers here used to talk about it, and I would laugh and say, why she say she quits every day? And this is why you have to learn to compartmentalize things, right? When I go home, I have to be a wife and mother. I'm a deaconess at my church. I have to be able to do those things without bringing the trauma that I may have experienced in the school, whether it be from a fight or some other action that I didn't expect to have in a school. And so you start to mitigate what's important and what's not important. Do I need to deal with this right now? Like, is this a situation that if I don't handle it right now, that it's going to blow up tomorrow? Or is this something that I could potentially have somebody else handle? So part of being a principal is about being able to delegate responsibility to other parties. So that's why we have assistant principals and grade levels and climate managers, because it's my expectation that we're running our larger school in smaller pockets so that things can get handled efficiently and without any stops, right? Because sometimes I'll get pulled away. I was supposed to see you guys last week for this, and I got pulled away. So I also commit myself that if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, and that's hard, for sure. It's hard. Um, but it's about prioritizing and putting students first. Like that's one thing I'll say about myself. I do put students first, and I recognize that you're an adult longer than you are a kid, and I want you guys to have the experience of being a kid because it's ghetto in adulthood. It's the best way I could put it. So,
So you know, in a couple of years that Bill 21 and Parkway are coming here, and I was wondering like we have a science lab and we don't use it, and so when they come, are they going to be able to use it? And like, how do you feel on schools combining with King?
so I think that that first and foremost, I would love for you guys to be able to use the science lab. And the only reason why it's not being used is because we don't have faculty available to keep that area safe and available and open. I know that there was a time when our science teachers would take kids over for labs, and that's something that we can talk about getting back to. It's just about having safe practices in place, having the materials and using them wisely. In terms of schools, I'm always happy that that more kids are coming to King. I think that you all are great kids, and I think that the world has a perception of King, and they don't know our reality. And so I think that what that offers is the opportunity for you guys just to show the world. And you do that through your podcast and through your athletics. I know we have a couple people in here that got selected to go on to play in states and things of that nature, right? And so, right. And I think that, a lot of that stuff gets downplayed. So with Parkway coming, they won't be the only honors academy. I feel like we have teachers that have the capacity to teach honors, and we have students for sure that are honors worthy. We have honors classes. So there's not a situation where I believe, and I'm going to work in partnership with their principal and their staff to come up with a plan to make sure that all of the students, like, be clear that once they come to Martin Luther King, they are students of Martin Luther King High School. So we will decide as a Northwest community what we'll call that. We will decide as a community what students will go into the honors program and magnet. And I want you guys to think about Northeast High School. Northeast High School is a comprehensive that pretty much schools like King and Bartram and Overbrook should be like, because they have the IB program, the International Baccalaureate. They have honors and magnet. That's truly what what a comprehensive high school should look like. So if we get an opportunity to show our face on a larger, grander scale, and I can mix the communities and make sure that we get the accolades that we're supposed to get, then that's what we're going to do. In terms of Building 21, the plan is to co-locate them, which means that they would still be their own school, and more than likely they would just, let's say the first floor, we had that as a swing space. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but last week, Finletter Elementary had heating problems, and so they were downstairs. So a lot of times schools are here already using our space. So they would just come and they would have their own school within our school. And I think, again, it's just another way to show the world how great we are, that we run our student government, that we make sure that it's a safe and viable place for students to learn. And y'all come to school every day, so that means that you feel like it's a good place to be.
I just want to ask, like, what do you say to people when you tell them, like, on the outside, like, you're a principal for Martin Luther King High School? Like, what do they say and what do you say?
So I'm big on paraphernalia, and I wear my King jacket, I wear my sweatsuits, and people all the time. So you'll be surprised the number of people first that are alumni of Martin Luther King. They are very proud of being alumni of Martin Luther King High School. But I tell them that we dream big here. That if they ask me about work, I say I'm living a dream. I say that I have the opportunity to reach scholars and people who are sometimes disenfranchised, because I don't know how many of you guys, when you found out you had to come to King, said, oh, I don't want to go to King because you heard all of these negative things about it. But look at the classroom you're in with Doc Fleming. We have a podcast in our school. You've had superintendents, you've had city council persons, like you've had, so many people come to speak to you about life in the world. We have training programs here. It is a great place. I don't let anybody play about, like, y'all my kids, but I don't play about my kids. And so when I wear my king jacket, I wear it with pride. And I say, yeah, it says Principal Wilkins, because that's who I am. And that's how I represent this school daily. And I'm not letting anybody take away from our glory, take away from the fact that we are the first high school in the entire country to be named after the civil rights leader who, when he was alive, people did not care for. They did not treat him kindly. They did not care about him. They did not want him to be the face of the civil rights movement or even black people altogether. And so if I think about him, I think about you. So I'm always standing 10 toes down for Martin Luther the King High School. We dream big, Shaniki.
Okay, my question is, what is hoochie coochie tights?
So when I refer to you, you're asking me about my uniform policy?
Yeah, 'cause
So-
I wore tights yesterday, but I was told those was hoochie coochie tights.
Yes, because I believe that you dress the way that you want people to treat you. And our school uniform policy is that we don't wear tights because we're not working in an industry where tights are acceptable. I want you to tell me a place where you wear tights to work.
I wear tights to work every day.
Where you work at?
Oh, you don't need to know. Where I work
Exactly.
at, but,
So when I
wear-
talk about setting standards, I'm talking about dressing according to work. If you went to a doctor's office and a doctor had on like some tight pants and big sneakers, would you feel comfortable with him servicing you?
But they
So
gotta
a
take
lot of
drugs.
times it's not about what I want to portray, but how the world sees me. So we have a uniform policy. And the reason why we have a uniform policy is because the world looks at you a certain way. Because you are a black female, they don't know how intelligent you are. They don't know anything about you outside of what your appearance is. So when you dress a certain way, people treat you a certain way. And that's based on my own experiences. I'm not like making up stuff and I don't know what it means to be in the world. So when I set the standard for a uniform, it's understanding that if your teacher came in here with wrinkled clothes looking like they didn't take a bath, you would feel some kind of way about your teacher coming in here with wrinkled clothes and not taking a bath. So our conversation, Shaniki, was specifically about my expectation for you to dress the part that I know you are.
No, that's 100 though. At least you broke it down and explained why. Cause a lot of girls be feeling like you got some like principals. Period. Like some parent, like principals got something against them wearing tights and or cause I got a body or they hitting. No, like that was real for me. Cause the little job that they got now, they not gonna have it in the future. So if you wanna be a businesswoman, I ain't never seen no businesswoman wearing tights before. So I now I get what you saying. Like that was real. At least you broke it down.
Thank you. And the other thing is like not to make you feel bad. I want you to be able to express yourself and how you wear your clothes. I feel like I'm expressive in how I wear clothes. Not everybody would choose to wear the things that I wear. But I also recognize that I have to have conversations that aren't always gentle conversations, right? And also understanding that this is preparation. Like, when I stand at the door and I'm like, you late. If this was your job, you'd be fired. Your pay would be docked. For anybody who's ever heard me say that when I'm standing at the door, it's not to antagonize you. It's to have you understand that these behaviors now, what you're doing now, if you don't change them and think about long term, how it's going to affect you. If you can't get up in the morning, I'll use my own son as an example. He's going to college next year. I wake him up every morning. If that alarm go off and I hear Rod Wave playing for 30 minutes every morning because the song just repeats over and over again and he's not getting up, when I'm not there to wake him up, will he still be able to get up and move and maneuver in the world? So this is not me trying to bother you. 10 years from now, I'm hoping you say, Principal Wilkins got on my nerves, but if she wasn't right about the people that I'm dealing with, understand that at 48 years old, I have to do what I have to do to be able to do what I want to do. And if you learn that now at 16, 17, 18 years old, do what you have to do so you can do what you want to do, it makes life so much easier because the biggest bully you'll have is your employer. You got to be on time. You have to do the job as written in your description plus more. You ever see that at the bottom of job description? And any other duties as assigned by your supervisor. Doc Fleming knows. So when I do this work, it's not really work for me. It's my opportunity to give a service back. I grew up at Wayne and Manheim. They called me Key Lolo. Like it wasn't a situation where people expected me to be anybody's principal. That's, I grew up in a 2-parent household where their expectations far exceeded what they had done, However, I still had to work hard to get here. Nobody gives you anything. Not one person says a girl named Keisha can come and be your principal. Nobody says that. But Keisha said, hello, I said, I have to set the standard for what this name means. I'm about to give y'all something real quick, right? So
That's what we need.
when I
that's what we
was in
need.
high school, we did the Shakespearean Festival, and I'm gonna be honest about the Shakespearean Festival. I found out you can get out of class if you did a little soliloquy in the Shakespearean Festival, right? So I picked Romeo and Juliet, and I did the part where Juliet's on the balcony, and I'm gonna do it for y'all in a minute because I still remember it. And the reason I know, Shaniki, let me perform. The reason why I remember it is because it's about a name. What's in a name? What does your name mean? When your parent named you, what was their reasoning? What was their logic behind it? So it goes like this. Oh, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name, or if thou wilt not be but sworn, my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet. 'Tis but thy name that is my enemy. Thou art thyself, though not a Montague. A rose by any other name would swell as sweet. And the reason why that stuck with me and it was important is because my name, when you say my name, you pronounce it with reverence. I worked hard to get where I am. When you say my name, you say it correctly. Don't let anybody tell you how you pronounce your name or what your name means. And if you don't know what your name means or why your parents named you what they named you, find out. Keisha is of an unknown origin. It was made up, but they made up slave names too. You know why they made up slave names? Because when I got moved from plantation to plantation, my mom would know Tatanalicious is my child. Keisha is my child because I named them such. You have to stand in your purpose and who you are. So a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. But this rose named Keisha, the rose that grew from concrete, is standing in this jungle every day for you guys. I fight fights that I shouldn't have to. Community meetings, they're talking about we had 5 fights and we ain't had a fight. You understand what I'm saying? So when I think about why I'm doing this work, why 11 years, and it's hard. I'm not going to lie, it's hard. I drive 45 minutes to get here. 45 to get here every day. That it's because I care about you guys, even if you don't think so. I want you to know I love you and I care for you. I used to get on the loudspeaker and tell you I love you, but they said I was talking too much. So I stopped doing it. Thank you. I do love you. That's why I'm going to talk to you. What you have to realize is when people stop talking to you, that's when you got to question your existence. Question what you did, because when people stop talking to you, they've given up. They don't care. The hope is now resting on whether or not you're going to take some responsibility.
No, that's crazy that you said that though, cause a lot of coaches use that in that aspect, and they be like, if I'm not hard on you no more, then that means something. Like, I mean, we don't care no more, and that's a bad thing. Like, that's why when somebody on you, like, that means you doing something right, and they want you to be at a high expectation. So
I got like a couple of questions. Like,
Okay.
so I want to know like what high school you grew up. I mean, not grew up. You graduated from, and did you ever see yourself becoming a principal at King? And also, I know that you talked on like the outlook on King and what people think about us. And this is my first year here. I transferred. I heard about King, but I'm a person who I think that you need to experience something yourself. You can't go off what anybody else saying. And what they were saying about King is not true. Like, this is a regular school like anywhere else. Like, to me, like, matter of fact, it might be better than some schools. Like, we don't fight every day in this joint. Like, from you got a real relationship with your teachers. Like, Dr. Fleming, I think, is one of the best teachers I done had. And they don't talk about, like, teachers at King. Like, you feel me? Even you as a principal, like, they think, like, dang, we don't do no work in this joint, or you don't learn nothing. Yeah, I learned here. And, yeah, that's, like, what do you think that King, like, what we could do to change the look on how we looked at from other schools and from people that never been a King, but you tell them they go to King, they look at you sideways like, dang, bro, you go to King, like.
So I went to Bodine High School for International Affairs, 4th and Girard, and like we had to go through Richard Allen Projects, the real Richard Allen Projects, to get to Bodine High School back in the 90s. There was also William Penn High School, and this is when schools had 2,000 and 3,000 kids. There weren't a lot of charter schools. So you had the few major high schools. You had King, you had Bartram, you had Overbrook, you had South Philly, you had Northeast, and then you had like Central and Girls High, and like I think Parkway Center City was around. And then you had schools like Bodine and Robeson, smaller schools who didn't have as big of a history, but they offered. I wanted to be an international lawyer. I told you I like to talk. So I just swore I was going to be in somebody's courtroom telling people what to do. I never thought that I would be a principal. I actually did mock trial at Bodine, and with mock trial, I got to travel to, in Junior Statesman of America, I got to travel to DC once a year and basically go on a floor and see what it was like to create laws. And I got to also experience just kids from around the country who were thinking about going into law and politics and things of that nature. How I became a principal, or how I got into education, because my undergraduate degree is in psychology. I went to that Westchester University, purple and gold, if anybody's interested. It's a great school. I went to Westchester. I graduated with a degree in psychology, and I was working as a one-to-one with a student who was very, very bright, but she didn't have anybody to advocate for her. And I found myself doing more teaching than anything else. She just needed to slow down, have somebody pay attention to her. And somebody saw my interactions with her and was like, you should be a teacher. And I was like, I was not the best student. And I'm not talking about academics. I'm talking about challenging status quo. I'm very big on speaking my feelings and my emotions, or saying when I don't like something, sometimes to my own demise. Right. But in this situation, a person said, I think you should be a teacher. There's a program called Literacy Intern Teacher in the school district. You should try it. My mom was a bus attendant in School 83. So my mom worked in the school as, like Mom Val and Mr. Tyrese. She worked in the school as like a support staff. And she was so happy. She was like, you're going to be a teacher? You're going to make, listen to this, $30,000 a year. I was rich. $30,000 a year. I was rich out of college with benefits. And I went and I worked at one of the hardest middle schools in Philadelphia, Pepper Middle School. And it's closed down now, but it's in Southwest Philadelphia. It was a feeder school for Bartram and Sayre and, the schools in Southwest. And what I found is that, y'all know Tiz 215? That's one of my students. Little Joe, the midget, the bird, one of my students from Pepper. It's like, one of those places where, like King, where the kids are great, but the world doesn't know, because they have this mindset that coming from these places, you can't be great. Michael Blackson's nephew, Daniel Blackson, was at Pepper with me. It was another hilarious situation with that. But it was, also KP, Kyle, he came here and did a music video. KP, he went to Pepper. So I know what it's like. Manny 215 went here to King. Manny is a big advocate for King and decreasing violence and having people understand how great a school could be. And he was a transplant from Germantown. He was a part of that closure. So I left Pepper in 2012 and I came over to Germantown because I said I may as well, if this school is going to close, I need to go to the place where I grew up and see how I can affect change over there. So I went to Germantown, and unfortunately both schools closed down in 2013. I went to central office, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, you have to have a certain what's the politically correct word to say? Okay, so you have to be a certain way that I'm not. Like I told you all, I challenge status quo. Like if we gonna do work, let's do work. I can't sit around and not do anything. I'm like the ADHD adult. Like I'm tapping my feet, running around, talking to people loud. Like I needed to be in a space working. And I had the opportunity to interview for a principalship, and I was coaching at King. I came here and I coached teachers. Miss O'Connor was one of the teachers that I coached. She's only one of the only people that are left at that time. But I coached teachers here, and I interviewed to be a principal, and I was sitting on this list, and I was like, you know what? I don't know if I really want to be a principal. I don't know if I really want to interview again right? Because life is about interviewing. You know, when you walk up to a person, when you meet a person, it's an interview. You guys have an elevator pitch. You know about your elevator pitch? Like how you present yourself to somebody so that they know who you are, and you may only have 30 seconds. Sometimes you have a minute or elevator ride from the first to the 15th floor. And so I was like, I can't keep interviewing. But Principal Wade was leaving, and he came to me and he said, I think you would be perfect for King. And I was like, honestly, sir, who in the hell left the gate open? Because I don't know if I could be the principal there. Because I've been in that school, like, not that it was a bad place, but it was a strange place because there was staff here that didn't understand the capacity of the kids, right? So I spent a lot of time having people to understand that if you don't want to teach our kids, then you shouldn't be here. And so there was a really big continuum of people coming in and out. And then we got strong. We got black males in our building like Dr. Fleming and Michael Fleming downstairs and Mr. Butler and, and the other Denzel Fleming. It just became one of those things where I said, how can I reach the students and population here to make them understand that they can be and do whatever they want to do. And so that's how I got here. And again, like, my conversation is always, I think it's funny because he would be like, you still at King? I'd be like, are you still gainfully employed? Because yes, I'm still at King. Like, if I'm going to be the principal, I'm going to be the principal at Martin Luther King High School. Y'all, I am so proud of just not only the fact that I get to represent you guys where I go, but I'm proud of how you represent yourself. A school is only as good as a community that feeds into it. So to answer your question about how you guys could let the world know how great you are is just to get involved in programs. I know y'all have an ICE protest scheduled for February 25th, February 24th, 7th period. Make it a peaceful protest. Make sure that you guys are speaking out about the injustices, because you know that once they told, well, as black people, we have always been the target. There's never not been a target on your back, especially to my black males. And as mother of boys, I understand that from a different perspective, as opposed to actually being a black male, understanding it from raising our black males and having to tell my boys how to walk in spaces and, how to act and how to be so that people aren't intimidated by you. But also to understand that they have to be proud of who they are and what they bring to any table. Shirley Chisholm said, if they don't give you a seat at the table, you bring your own folding chair. And that's not the exact quote, but that's similar to it. So I bring a folding chair, and if you got to get beat down like Montgomery, Alabama with that folding chair, then so be it. But I think that you guys just have to be a strong representation for your school. When you go places, you have to be proud to say, I go to King, and here are the things, and share the podcast, and share the athletics, and share the relationships that you have with your teachers, and share the good things that go on. And you know what? Some of the troubles that you have, because you never know how a person can support you and help you through something.
I can't say like you definitely wanna like. I could tell like you actually care. No, I definitely could say like you actually really care, cause like I went to schools like I went to Bethune. Like our principal, like at the time, she didn't really care. You feel me? She wasn't really like involved. Like you feel what I'm saying with the kids. You feel me? So like now that you actually like talking to us and telling us like how it really is being the principal and how you feel about us, like that's real. I don't think any other like school I went to, like I don't think they ever did that. You know what I'm saying? So, that's real.
All I could do is kind of piggyback off what bro said. Like, I ain't really never have a principal come in and like have a conversation with us. Like, I went to Lincoln, I went to MOTEP too. I can't remember. Like, I don't even know the principal of Lincoln now. Like, I ain't never seen his face. I don't know. I don't know if it's a him or her. And at TEP, I don't really know him too well either. He kind of just cared about the basketball team, honestly. So it's like I really appreciate it. Like, be able to see a face that like you run this school and know that you really care about us and really value how we are looked at. It matters. So
Thank you.
If if you were encouraged or provoked by this conversation, let's continue this discussion on our socials. We're at BEO Youth everywhere. Be sure to like and follow and share and comment and subscribe. I am Luther. Thank you for listening.
That's Mr. Wood.
Ramadan Mubarak. Today we will be continuing the interactive Ramadan sessions during first lunch, 10:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. in the library. There will be short reflections, discussions and videos, character and self-control, gratitude and reflection. You are welcome to attend. Shukran, thank you. Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Mubarak. Did y'all know that Ramadan, the start of Ramadan and Ash Wednesday, happened at the same time for the first time in like hundreds of years?
Yeah, I saw that joint online.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I want to say something about this announcement though.
Go ahead.
So you know how like when the girls was winning games or whatever, we hear yo, congratulations to the girls team for beating We made it to the second round of the playoffs. We went on a 10-game win streak, and I didn't hear nothing about that this whole season. I know Coach Sean had to say something. Yeah, it's like I remember they did one joint. It's like, oh, whatever team they beat. Yeah,
That's what they said, whatever team they played.
yeah.
So I think that thank you for bringing that to my attention. Teachers and staff have the opportunity to give announcements to the students. So oftentimes when you hear it, it's because somebody said it. But I think that for me, it's eye-opening to know that athletics are a big part of our school. And